All right. You know it. What's up, Patreon? Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Celebrate living.
Patreoners.
Celebrate
Misery.
You know that soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die.
Patreon, what's up, guys? I want to say thank you for your support. The Spencer Jacob Growl Band bringing us into this second Patreon episode that we have, this extended time here, and I really do want to thank you guys, man. You know, and Spencer Jacob on that song, they talk about let's all have some fun while we all die. And I know that's a dark thing to think about, but I'm gonna digress on it here for a second. I think that's what the term is. I'm gonna talk about it for a second. Because we live, and I live in a time and in a place I feel like where people we have this vibe where we're going to live forever. You know? We're going to live forever. We're not taking care of our seniors as much. You know? People don't want to be associated much with seniors. No one wants to remember right now that we don't live forever. Nobody wants to remember it. Nobody. I think it's why you see less people. I think it's all a circle, but less people are involved in, you know, have church in their lives or faith or have, you know, religion or this bigger, you know, you have this generate, you know, these. I think probably the generation right now and these younger generations. I don't know if they, you know, if they have, and that's one reason I think why religion is probably missing, or is why it's less, is because it's about life, man. It's about being alive, you know, right now, you know. How could I die? I'm just working this machine. I'm just working this phone or this computer. You know? It's like almost like we've become like employees for our lives. And our lives are electronic, and we're just the employees that are managing them. So then why would you? You'd think, oh, well, whenever I pass away, of course I'll just go into a database, probably, right? Where'd you get buried, huh? What gigabyte are you buried in? Are you going to be buried in? Are you going to be buried in a gigabyte? Which one? You know? Oh, really? Your mother passed away? Did they put her in a hard drive? You know, it's just that's how it is now. And so I think that's why you don't have this bigger picture, this bigger religion, this, you know, you don't have people thinking about an afterlife. You know, there's no, because they have so much footage of you and stuff now that you don't even need an afterlife. The afterlife's right here. You know, the afterlife can just be in a hard drive. You can go and relive and have all these other moments forever. There's so many moments now that can be saved. You know, and I think it's a real correlation right there. You know, that why isn't it like, oh, well, you know, you don't have to think if you go to heaven or hell. It doesn't, you know, it's just you, and not that, I mean, or you don't have to think that there's another, you know, there's another realm or another, you know, I'm trying to think of what, like this, you know, that you are reincarnated, or that you come back into another like caste, another level of life. You know, like if you were a beggar this time, then next time you're a worker, and then you're a king or queen, and then, you know, people aren't thinking about that as much. At least not here. At least not in America. At least not in the world that I see, and that's of course out here mostly in Los Angeles. You know. You know, there's just no consequences really for life, because life is, you almost feel like they could save so much of you in a hard drive that you won't, there's no reason for you to have to go anywhere after, because you can still be here forever. That's kind of this vibe that's going on, or that life lasts forever. You know, no one's thinking about, oh, when you die, you know, when you pass away. Because I mean, it's kind of it's a morbid thought, but also if you have a bigger picture of you know, like that you can go on to another place, or that you can, you know, that you return back into the fold, and you know, you can be remanifested into some other, you know, maybe planet or galaxy or light or energy ball or source or something, you know. there's, those ideas used to be a lot more prevalent, I think, because there wasn't as much of a medium to be shelved and saved forever here on Earth in hard drives and in kilobytes and in megabytes and in photos and video and voice and everything. But I still like to think about it, man. I still like to think about that. Where are you going to go on to? I hope right whenever you leave this planet, this Earth or whatever, I think you can still, you just leave your body and you're right there. And then maybe something happens next and you go into heaven or you go into hell. I think that's fun. You don't have to get all religious about it. I think that's awesome. And I think even if you go to hell, there's a chance to get back into regular life. I think I'm sure it's double elimination. If you get into hell, you can probably, do the Mordor deal and get out of there. Get to that next level and then get back to regular life, beat Bowser, and then get into heaven. Boom, boom, boom. Anything's possible. I mean, we woke up here on a ball of dirt and water, middle of nowhere. You telling me that something else just as wild as that isn't possible? I mean, I never knew the world existed. I never knew Earth existed, that this life existed until I came into existence here. I could easily come into existence in some other way, form, shape, somewhere else. Bam. Would not be shocked. I will not be shocked when I show up on Saturn as an apricot. I will not be shocked. But I appreciate you guys. Thinking about this with me. Because we're not thinking about those things these days. It's just me. It's right now. And we don't want. I feel like we don't. We almost. One of my buddies was talking to me the other night about it. He's a British man, and he was saying in Britain that they really distance themselves from their senior citizens. He was telling me, he's like, oh man, when my nan died, I was really just grateful. She really just had been alive for so long. I was like, sheesh, Christ, I wish Nan would just die. She's just been kind of milling around, ruining everything. And that's I was like, wow, and I wasn't just, just wow at him or his thought. I was just wow that's kind of it's a popular thought these days. Or it's a popular thought that lives in a lot of cities and a lot of like more metropolitan areas. I think is whatever man, this life's for the living, and whoever's living the most. Especially Hollywood, you're out in here and it's all about, who's got the best look and the best smile, and you got to look young and you better keep it going because somebody else just came into town that's 9 times as talented and 10 times as good. It just never ends. So maybe that's just the circle that I'm in. But I do feel a vibe more that it's all about, what we're doing, whoever's alive. There's not as much honor and stuff tied into the people that are leaving us, our senior citizens. Just a thought that I had, man. Just something I was thinking about. Got this Michael Landon shirt on. Had my buddy Ken made this for me. The guy that makes all my shirts. Any merch you buy from me, from my store, is made by a man in Cleveland. His brother makes them in the basement. His brother's an alcoholic and has 2 shirt presses and makes them down there in the basement over there near Akron. So that's beautiful. The Best Brothers, that's what they're called. Their last name is Best, and they are brothers. And that's how they came up with the title. That's an easy one. That's an easy one to come up with. So pretty easy. What else? Got some sets coming up this week. Got some neat stuff happening. Got offered for another special. So it's something I'm sharing with the Patreon people. Kind of deciding what I want to do and how I want to do it. And if where is feasible and what that looks like and all of that. So I'm kind of figuring that out. We got our new first charter sponsor for the podcast, so that's really cool. Gray Block Pizza. So it looks like I'll be able to have a producer come in and help. I was thinking about having Ari. We had Ari on for a little bit. I was thinking about having Ari check in every couple of weeks, share something that's going on with his life, and then having listeners give him advice. What do you guys think about that? And then I would take the clip and put that up later on in the week. Like, here's what was going on with Ari, and here's you guys' advice for him. I think that'd be kind of neat. That way, we have a little bit more teamwork going on. It's kind of a full throttle back and forth kind of vibe, If I'm sharing thoughts and ideas, and then you guys can share them with Ari because he's young. You know, when he's going through stuff and he's still out there making a lot of poor choices and some decent choices, but more poor choices. You know, so that's got me thinking about that, about what's going on with him, you know. What else, man? I've been thinking, you know, I've noticed when I'm going to this therapist, I go to therapy on Monday, you know, at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And man, I'm finding sometimes I just don't want to be in there. You know, sometimes I don't want to be in there thinking about my feelings and sharing my feelings. And sometimes I can't even feel nothing, or I'm tired. And I'm just like, fuck. You know, I want to do something else. I don't want to do this. You know, but I notice at those times, if that starts happening to me, that's when I need to do it the most. Because for me, there's something inside of me that doesn't want the best for me. That doesn't want me to, you know, get better or feel better. That wants me to get stuck with my problems or whatever, these ghosts that haunt my brain and haunt my spirit, that wants me to get stuck with them forever. Forever. And so that's when I really have to batten down. And that to me is what is, you know, for now in my life is what I define as kind of my, you know, my alcoholism. You know, whereas that's the thing that haunts me. You know, is when I know that I need something for myself. And this part of me tells me, no, you don't. You don't need that. This is bullshit. This isn't fun. This isn't cool. This isn't helping. There's something in my brain that tells me that, even when things are helping me. Even when going to therapy and stuff is the best thing for me. So that's wild that sometimes our worst enemy lives inside of us. And we can't corner him and we can't cage him. You know, but over time we can watch what he does. And we can watch some of his moves. You know, and we can learn to see how he plays his cards, what his tells are. You know, and we can outplay him when he plays his hand. And so that's what I'm trying to do right now, man. I know I got to go to therapy, and I don't even want to go this week, you know. But I know I know that the real part of me knows that long term I need to go. Because say I go 4 weeks in a row, 3 weeks are shitty. It's not even a good, you know, I don't have anything to think about or talk about. But that 1 week that I make that breakthrough, you know, and I uncoil a little bit of the, you know, the leaves that are stuck in the gutters of my brain and my past, that's when it's worth it. That's when all 4 visits are suddenly worth it over the month, you know, in that one spotlight visit, you know, that one spotlight moment. So what else? I was going to take some calls, but I'm kind of, you know, just thinking, man, you know, just thinking about ways that we can, you know, make this podcast cooler. You know, different like little segments we can pop off and do each week. You know, I want to find more ways to incorporate people, listeners, you, helping out callers, you know, matching that up somehow. We're also going to get into this prison outreach. I don't know what we're going to do, but I want to somehow have prisoners involved, you know, have them write in or call in or leave voicemails or something, you know, to see what they're thinking and see what's going on with them. So if you have some thoughts, man, put them down below, you know. Put them down below. If you have any questions or anything specific too that you want me answered next week, and I'll throw one of these up next week as well. Also have some behind the scenes from last week when I was at my brother's. I was over at my brother's in Baton Rouge spending time with my nieces and nephews, and I'll throw up a little bit of that when he was helping me set up the pod, just so you can get a little insight into who some of my family is. And that's it, man. Those are just some extra thoughts. And I appreciate you guys' support on the Patreon. And I'll be back next week with another extension for Patreon, whatever it's called. If you have ideas, things you want to see, other ideas for the podcast, way to advance it, write it in below. You know, not on the YouTube page, write it in on the Patreon page, and so I can see what you guys are thinking, because I consider my Patreon people, you know, you guys are investors. That's how I look at it, and I'll find ways to make it worth your while, but I also want to honor some of what your ideas are, you know, and I think that's awesome, man. And so thank you for your time, for your love, and for your support. Let's take this out. Ooh, Halloween.
Celebrate living, celebrate misery.
Man. guys be good to yourselves, man. I bet you deserve it.
Let's have